Even as diplomatic negotiations continue and a ceasefire remains officially in place, military tensions between the United States and Iran appear far from over. On Tuesday, US CENTCOM announced that American forces carried out what it described as a military strike against an Iranian military groundbreaking station on Queshm Island. The strike came after a series of missile and drone launches that Washington says originated from Iran. But why was Queshm Island targeted, and what does this incident mean for the wider Middle East? Let's break it down. According to CENTCOM, Iranian forces launched several ballistic missiles toward countries in the region on June 2. The US claims that two missiles fired toward Kuwait either fell short or broke apart before reaching their targets. Three additional missiles launched toward Bahrain were intercepted by American and Bahraini air defense systems. CENTCOM also reported that US forces shot down three Iranian one-way attack drones that were allegedly heading toward civilian shipping routes in regional waters. In response, American forces struck what they described as an Iranian military ground control station located in Queshm Island. The Pentagon stated that no American personnel were injured during the incident and emphasized that US forces remain ready to defend themselves and regional partners. Why Queshm Island matters? Queshm Island is not just another location inside Iran. It sits near the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important maritime choke points. A significant portion of global oil exports passes through these waters every day, making the area strategically important for both regional and global powers. Because of its location, Iran has long maintained military and surveillance infrastructure on the island that makes a strike on Queshm particularly significant. Unlike operations targeting Iranian-backed groups elsewhere in the region, this was a strike on Iranian territory itself. What US argues about this is that from Washington's perspective, the operation was a defensive action. American officials argue that missile launches and drone attacks posed a direct threat to regional security and civilian maritime traffic. By targeting a military control station rather than broader military facilities, the US appears to be signaling that the objective was limited, stop ongoing threats without expanding the conflict. Supporters of the strike will likely argue that it was a proportional response to attacks that had already taken place. How Iranians may view it? Iran, however, is likely to see the situation very differently. Regardless of the US justification, a strike on Iranian territory can be viewed in Tehran as a violation of national sovereignty. Iranian officials have frequently argued that American military activity in the region contributes to instability and that Tehran has the right to defend its interests. Difference in perspective is important because what one side calls self-defense, the other way may see it as aggression. And in international conflicts, those competing narratives often shape what happens next. The bigger picture here, perhaps the most notable aspect of this incident is its timing. The strikes occurred while negotiations are still ongoing, and while both sides publicly speak about avoiding a wider conflict, yet military actions continue. This reflects a familiar pattern in Middle Eastern geopolitics. Diplomacy on one track, military pressure another. Neither side appears willing to give up leverage, even while talks continue. The risk is that repeated exchanges increases the chances of miscalculation. Neither Washington nor Tehran may want a direct war, but history has shown how quickly localized incidents can escalate. The US strike on Queshm Island marks another tense chapter in the ongoing standoff between Washington and Tehran. The United States says the operation was necessary self-defense following missile and drone attacks. Iran is likely to argue that it was an attack on its sovereign territory. For now, the key question is whether this incident remains isolated or becomes part of a broader cycle of retaliation. As negotiations continue, the coming days could reveal whether the region moves towards a de-escalation or another confrontation.